I'm lucky enough to be sat in the cockpit of one of the most important aircraft of the Second World War, the majority of which took off from this particular corner of England. So much so, it became known as Bomber County. So where am I? We'll find out in just a moment. On today's show, I'm helping a self-employed couple in search of a country home with space to house their business ideas. Along the way, one property brings on a surprising change of character.
I'm speechless.
Yeah.
That's unusual for me.
Yeah.
While our mystery house takes time to adjust to.
Bit TARDIS, isn't it?
This house.
TARDIS is...
It's much bigger on the inside than you think it is from the outside.
Today I'm in Lincolnshire, which during the Second World War was the centre of Bomber Command and home to over 100 airfields. The skies here would literally thunder to the sound of aircraft. Sadly today, though, only 4 of these iconic bombers remain intact, one of which is housed here in Lincolnshire Aviation Heritage Museum. And I think it's safe to say that these days, life in Lincolnshire is a rather more sedate affair. The second largest county in England, Lincolnshire is bordered by the North Sea to the east and 7 counties, including Nottinghamshire and Leicestershire to the west, with Cambridgeshire to the south. The 40-mile stretch of chalk upland that forms the Lincolnshire Wolds is one of the key landmarks of the county. It's home to beautiful villages such as Somersby, the birthplace of the Victorian poet Lord Alfred Tennyson, and Spilsby, where the celebrated Arctic explorer Rear Admiral Sir John Franklin was born. Agriculture has shaped this landscape. Over a quarter of the nation's field vegetables are grown here, in addition to cereals, sugar beet and flowers. The Wolds stand in contrast to the rest of the county, which is typified by vales to the southwest, along with flat, low-lying fens, with windmills a common sight. The average price of a detached house here in Lincolnshire is just shy of £167,000. That's a massive £88,000 below the national figure, so you certainly get value for money here. However, go north to the Lincolnshire Wolds villages around Caister and Louth and you will find property hotspots. But keep going towards the coast and just like the land itself, property prices do tend to flatten out. Now moving south, you'll pay a premium for living in places like Woodhall Spa. But go to the market town of Boston and you're sure to find a competitively priced property. But no matter where you look around this county, it's fair to say some rather handsome housing stock to be had. For centuries, limestone was a popular building material in Lincolnshire and is still quarried here today. Ancaster limestone can be seen in many old buildings throughout the county. This Grade 2 listed 4-bed terraced house in Stamford, which dates back to the 1700s, is priced at £475,000. Ironstone was also used when deposits were found around Scunthorpe in the late 1800s. The distinctive red rock was quarried until the end of the 1970s. This Grade 2 listed 4-bed property in Manthorpe could be yours for £355,000. The south of the county, around Bourne, was home to many brickyards, which translated into bricks being used as the main building material here. This 4-bedroom Georgian property is on the market for £325,000. Well, there's no shortage of good-looking housing here in Lincolnshire, but can we find any that's suitable for today's buyers? Let's meet them and find out. John and Jane met through a dating agency in 1999 and married 2 years later. Since selling their house 3 months ago, they've been staying with Jane's daughter, Corinne, in the city of Sunderland, while searching for a new home in their chosen county of Lincolnshire. But it's not easy adapting to life under someone else's roof.
It's silly the things that you miss, but you do miss your own things and your own space. And living life to your own pace as well. That's very different here. We're used to a more relaxed pace. And we can't wait to get back to that. It's a very different environment being here in Sunderland. It's obviously a very urban area, it's close to a city centre. It's a totally different lifestyle to the one that we're hoping to have in Lincolnshire.
Both John and Jane are self-employed. Jane is a Reiki therapist and will be aiming to run her business from home.
Reiki is a Japanese healing system, an energy system. It's about moving energy through the body in the way that a lot of Eastern philosophies work on moving energy through the body. It's about finding a balance and a calm in today's busy and stressful world.
Carpenter John has been lending a practical hand while living in his daughter-in-law's home.
Since we have lived here, I've caught up on quite a few jobs for Corinne, building cupboard doors on the understairs for her, doing lots of little jobs like hanging doors and things that needed doing.
So a room for Jane's Reiki practice and storage space for John's tools will be top of the priority list for their new property.
I'm looking forward to having my own workshop rather than a garage stroke workshop where I can lay my machinery out as it should be laid out and where I can put my tools, where I can say to Jane, my tools are in such and such a place, and she'll go, right, I know exactly where they are, rather than saying, I can never find anything in your garage.
And also we'd like to have space for the caravan. At the moment it's in storage. It's great to have it at your home because it does mean that then you can just hitch up and go away much more on impulse. It does mean that it's more of a freedom thing as well.
Having already viewed around 40 houses, they also know what they don't want.
The nightmare as well, I think, that we would not like a modern bungalow.
Yeah.
It's definitely not for us.
Yeah.
Once they move, they're looking forward to getting out and about and meeting their new neighbours as they revive old interests.
You were on the council.
Yeah, I used to be on the parish council and John used to be a countryside ranger, so he used to look after the walkways in the countryside. I think you'd quite like to get back to that as well.
I would like to go back to that, yes, yes.
And with the cash from their house sale burning a hole in their pockets, that just leaves the subject of money.
Our budget is up to £270,000. We are sold our house and, as you probably understand, we are living with our daughter and things are very squashed and we are ready to move ASAP.
John and Jane have done an exhaustive house hunt in the north and west of Lincolnshire, so we're going to be concentrating on the south of the county, near the towns of Bourne and Grantham. I met them so they could tell me a bit more about what they're after in their new rural home. Well, welcome both of you to a beautiful sunny day in Lincolnshire. Cracking, isn't it?
It's
beautiful.
absolutely amazing.
I mean, why did you choose this part of Lincolnshire?
It was a combination between family commitments
Yeah.
and wanting to be further south and having a longer summer and being in a rural area. And Lincolnshire kind of made all those three work
Fits
for
the
us.
bill
Yeah.
in all those aspects.
What are you hoping to get for your budget around here?
We don't need a lot of bedrooms.
We don't need
We
a lot
just
of house.
want space around our house. We want to be able to have the choice to build things around the house if we haven't got them. So the
Okay.
house really is not minimum of 2 bedrooms.
Right, OK, so minimum of 2 bedrooms inside the house.
Yeah.
But you want space to maybe work outside. Are you going to want to work down here as well, Jane?
Yes, I've been running a small business in Reiki for a couple of years and
Yeah.
I would just need a room to do that.
You've looked at a lot of properties before, and I've only got 3 I can show you. 2 ones that I hope fit the bill, and then the third property, the mystery house, hopefully will fit the bill, but it's something different, maybe different to what you're after.
I look forward to that.
Yeah?
Yeah,
OK.
I look forward to that.
This is going to be
Good.
interesting. Let's start, shall we? Come on.
Yeah, OK.
John and Jane have £270,000 to spend and would like their country home to feature a separate room for Jane's Reiki practice, a workshop for John's carpentry, or space to build one, a minimum of 2 bedrooms and a large garden. We've lined up 3 fantastic properties which we think will really inspire them, and at each one I'll be asking them to guess the price tag. One, of course, is our mystery house, which challenges them to face their worst property fears. we're kicking off our house hunt close to the village of Thirlby, around 2.5 miles south of Bourne. It's a lively community which has all the amenities John and Jane will need, including a local shop and post office, a traditional pub for bar meals, and a community hall, which is the centre for local activities such as indoor bowls and line dancing. On the outskirts of Thirlby, in the hamlet of Obthorpe, our first house shares a driveway with a small working farm opposite. Right then, property number 1 is this one. It's an old farm worker's cottage. Now, I don't know what means, but it doesn't sound particularly good.
Just wondering...
Nice architectural features. I like the roof line.
Yeah?
And some of it looks older than the rest of it.
The house we're looking at is this return, if you like. So look at the end there, all the way up to what we're facing now, the gable end. So your house, if you like, starts from that chimney and goes back.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
OK. The windows, double glazed plastic,
Yeah.
which I'm not 100%
No, fair enough.
enamoured on, but
Yeah.
to be honest with you, they're quite pleasant.
OK.
Yeah, they are.
Let's have a look inside.
Yeah, OK.
Well, it seems John definitely prefers period features to modern, so he and Jane should be impressed when they see the character inside this property, starting with the rustic kitchen. Right then, what do we think of this?
Very nice kitchen.
It's definitely a country kitchen.
Yeah.
I like the range style cooker. That's nice. It's a good space.
It actually looks like a handmade kitchen.
Well, yeah, I mean, I thought this might appeal to you, being,
does,
you know,
yeah,
a master of wood.
Yeah.
It's not your standard buy out of a superstore fitted kitchen, isn't it? And
No,
I think it works quite well here.
Yeah, yeah.
So, good start?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
good stuff.
OK,
Yeah.
you just turn left through there, that's the living room. Right, quick look at that.
Oh, yeah.
You like it?
Yeah, it's
First
a
impressions, yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
decent size. It's quite cosy. I like the fireplace. It would be nice if it could be usable as a proper fire. I don't know
That
with
was
a
the next
chimney.
question, yes.
Yeah, it needs some
Yeah.
work done to it. I think a wood burner would be there, would be fine, but apparently it does need some work done to the chimney.
Yeah.
All right, probably need lining again, maybe.
I quite like the stone on the wall there. That's quite nice.
Yeah,
Showing
the
a
way
bit of
they've
stone.
chipped it away, it's nice, yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
OK, so far so good?
So far, so
So
good.
far, so
Let's
good.
take a look at the master bedroom, just through
OK,
here.
right.
That's what I like to hear. Also, downstairs off the kitchen, there's a utility room and a cloakroom. And off a lobby area to the rear of the house, there's a bright conservatory. Time to show them what this house offers upstairs. And with 3 bedrooms, that means there's potential to have one for guests and one for Jane's Reiki work. There's also a generously sized modern family bathroom with shower. But we're going to take a look at the master bedroom. So the biggest of all 3 rooms by some margin. What's your thoughts on it?
Not a bad size. These are quite big wardrobes.
Yes, they
So
are.
Quite in your face when you come in. Perhaps with a bit of repositioning and jiggling.
A good size with our furniture in it would be a good size.
Oh, right, so you'd have less.
Smaller,
Minimalistic, yes.
smaller
Yes.
design really
yeah.
than these.
Yeah.
Let's go into the garden and start thinking about price.
Right.
All right.
OK.
Outside, as well as an enclosed 90-foot-long garden, there's an off-road parking area and shed that should be large enough for John to store his carpentry tools. So, it's enclosed. Now, first of all, it's not massive, and that's probably what you're thinking, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And where would our caravan go? Down the end there?
Whenever there's a farm, I'd always have a conversation with the farmer regarding land to purchase,
Yeah.
land to rent.
Uh-huh.
How much do you think it's on the market for? I think you've got a good guess in your mind, I reckon. I mean, come on, you've seen
235.
40 houses.
235.
What? 235?
Yeah.
And I'll say 265.
You must remember I'm half Yorkshire and half Scottish.
Does that affect your judgment on how much the properties are worth?
The price.
Right. Is your guess, do you think that's what it's on the market for, or how much do you think it's worth to you?
To me,
Right, so what do you think it's on the market for?
272.
I'm not even going to ask why. That's fantastic. All right. OK, so you think it's on the market for 272, you think 265. It's actually on the market for dead on £250,000.
All right.
So between the two, it wasn't such a bad guess.
Right, well, listen, go and have a look, not only in the house at the other
Yeah.
bedrooms, but
Yeah.
maybe start off by having a look at the outbuildings.
Right,
And I'll catch
okay.
you at the front whenever you're ready.
OK. Yeah.
Well, this is my first tour with these guys, and I'm really starting to understand what they want, what they don't want. But actually, on the whole, I think they're warm to this house quite a lot. For the future, well, I think land might be an issue, but this is certainly maybe set their sights on what compromises they might have to make. So, with a price tag of £250,000, John and Jane are left with £20,000 to sort out any land issues and build John a bespoke workshop. This lovely character cottage offers a sociable country kitchen, a cosy lounge, 3 bedrooms, one of which could be used for Jane's Reiki practice, a small outbuilding for John's tools, and there's potential space for the caravan if they can negotiate an agreement with the neighbouring farmer.
The lounge was a good size for us. Not massive, but big enough for what we need. But wouldn't be able to get a Reiki bed in the smallest of the bedrooms, so it's a little bit small upstairs.
Outside, we looked for storing the caravan and the workshop and felt that it would take too much time and effort and money to make it into something that Jane and I are looking for.
So, had a good look around inside and out?
Yes, yes.
Yes, we have.
Good. All right, on to the next house then, shall we?
OK, lovely, thank you.
Set within the Lincolnshire Fens on the banks of the River Welland lie the Deepings, the collective name for 5 adjoining villages and towns, one of which is Market Deeping. The historic centre of this market town is a protected conservation area, as it has over 60 listed buildings, most of which are made from the local stone and date back to the 17th century. Close by, the Deeping Lakes Nature Reserve is one of over 100 such reserves in the county. As a haven for wildlife, this 200-acre site needs careful management for its rich biodiversity to thrive. As Jane and former country ranger John have a desire to reconnect with the countryside, we arranged for them to meet Warden David Van Dome from the Lincolnshire Wildlife Trust.
Well, what we've got here is an amalgamation of 2 sites, really. Beyond that tree line, there's this other larger lake, a treadwell site of special scientific interest. And that was declared back in 1968. And at that time, it had quite a large population of herons nesting on it. And also, it was one of the first noted colonies of cormorant away from the coast.
So how many volunteers do you have?
Today, Tuesday's our big day. There's about a dozen people here volunteering at the moment. But the volunteering is crucial to the work of the Trust. I've got some botanical skills. I can identify most of the plants here. Other people have worked for highways departments, so they bring civil engineering skills. And of course, with the San Martin Bank, we needed building skills.
John's carpentry skills could also be very useful here. One of the jobs for volunteers is maintenance of the 3 miles of fencing used for keeping in sheep that help to maintain the grassland through grazing. Some of these are hurdle-style fences woven from willow. Ian and Flynn are 2 of the volunteers currently putting one together, and they're going to show Jane and John how it's done.
Start at this end, the thick end. Go down the thick here.
Yeah, there we are. Right.
Knock it down.
Knock it down.
Excellent.
Another one. So put that this way.
Weave that one in.
That one that way. That one. That one.
Just watch that whippy end.
The willow branches used for this fencing are cut in autumn and stored in water to keep them flexible before building work begins. When woven between wooden posts, they provide a strong barrier and a natural habitat for insects.
I suppose this is an eco-friendly fence because you'll have a lot of this spare after you've copsed.
We do have a lot of spare when we're coppicing and pollarding across the reserve.
Yeah. Can I just ask what pollarding is?
Pollarding is basically when we take a tree and instead of coppicing, which is from cutting at the ground level and it shoots up from the ground, a pollarding will cut it from probably 2 or 3 feet higher, and that's where you see these lollipop trees.
Yeah, make it bush out
Right,
better shape.
better.
These fences are also the ideal solution for protecting plants, such as the rare orchids that grow here, from the grazing sheep.
How do you finish the ends?
Right, where it is the thicker end, we'll just chop down here, probably about a couple of inches away from the end, whereas the thinner end, we'll actually just nick it bind it round and then start weaving it back round and then just popping it down through the willow.
Right.
So then
Yeah.
it ties in the
Yeah.
last end post to stop them popping out.
Yeah.
I think we found John the ideal volunteering opportunity here, but now it's time for us to weave our way back to our search for their new Lincolnshire home. We've journeyed to Wilsford, which lies around 9 miles from Grantham. Home to around 400 residents, it's been granted Conservation Village status and has a post office with shop and its own pub. Many of the houses are built from the local Ancaster limestone. Set in the heart of the village, our second house is totally in keeping, but was only built some 6 years ago. Now then, the second property, very different proposition to the first. What's your thoughts?
First of all, it's a new property, so very different from the other one, but nicely done. I like the stonework.
Nice
Attractive looking property with a good finish, yeah.
Yeah, it's nice. Nice setting.
The boundary is right beyond those laurels and this conifer here.
Yeah, it's
So you've got
quite a way
all
back.
this space to play with.
Yeah, yeah.
Certainly room if you dug it out
Yeah.
for a caravan at the back there, isn't there?
Yeah, yeah.
Now we've nailed a space for the caravan, let's move on to the main event, the inside of this fantastic new build, which gives them more character than they might be expecting. OK, let's start in the kitchen.
Wow. Yeah, lovely kitchen. Very, very nice. Like the high ceiling. I like the ceiling lights. I like
Well,
the...
I can't. Sorry, I just can't say. I'm speechless.
Yeah.
That's unusual for me.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
Yeah, I love it.
I think I'll sit down.
Tell you what, it's very different to the first house, isn't it?
Very
it's,
different.
It's contemporary, you know, you've got the granite work surfaces, but it's,
Yeah.
come on, it's massive, isn't it?
Well, it's a livable kitchen, and it is actually what we've been used to over our time, and it's a good kitchen. I'm just absolutely gobsmacked.
Good. Well, the kitchen set their hearts soaring, so let's regroup and see what Jane thinks of her potential Reiki room. I thought for your Reiki, the study could be perfect.
Yeah, it's a good size, good shape. Yeah, could easily
Yeah.
fit a table in there.
Definitely.
Good position in the house too.
Yeah, well, nobody needs to walk into the rest of the living accommodation and the loos next door.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
It's
do.
front room.
It's ideal. Yeah.
So your living room
Yeah.
will be this one.
Oh.
Again, lovely size, nice shape as well. Very, very workable shape.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the light from the
Yeah.
garden and the doors. Great. Like
Good
floor.
size. Good size.
It's
Yeah.
a good quality finish throughout, and
Yeah.
that shines through.
It does. Yeah. It's really nice.
Well, let's keep this positive vibe going, shall we? Let's take a look at the master bedroom.
Right. Okay.
The upstairs gives them 3 bedrooms in total, the 2 for guests being spacious and tastefully decorated, and these both share a smart family bathroom. But we're heading to where they could be sleeping. This is the master.
Yeah, it's a good size.
Very nice.
Yeah, again,
Yeah.
nicely
Good
finished.
size.
This is the master because... really nice ensuite. Have a look in there, guys.
Gosh.
Oh, that's lovely. Really good size.
Very good.
Yeah, good size shower room.
Is it like anything you've seen so far?
Actually, no.
No, I don't think we've seen anything that was built as recently.
No.
But that's still got quite a lot of character about the design in the build.
Even though they've previously seen around 40 houses, this property has delivered something new and refreshing to tempt them with. Outside, the lawn is a reasonable size and there's also a paved patio area. What's more, there's a garage for John to store his tools. OK, what's your thoughts on its size, first of all?
Manageable.
Yeah, it is that, yeah, of course.
Would have liked a little bit more.
Yeah.
Bit more privacy from the neighbour there, but I think you get round that by planting a hedge or
Screening.
something.
Let's see how much you think this house is on the market for. Who's going first?
I'll say 270.
Straight in.
Yeah,
OK.
yeah. Gut feeling.
I'll go for 289.
All right. Well, pretty good guesses. This place is on the market for offers around £285,000. We spoke to the owners and they said they would consider an offer of around your budget, 270.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah.
we could be getting there, couldn't we?
We could.
Could be. Yeah.
I think this is a great opportunity for you to go back into the house, have a look around.
Yeah, I'd love
You've
to see
also not looked into that garage,
Yeah.
so take as much time as you want, and I'll meet you, well, by the front door.
Right, lovely.
All right?
Yeah.
See you in a bit. Got a steely look of determination in John's eye there. They both reacted wonderfully inside. But I think, after 40 houses, this one's in the running, maybe. Priced at £285,000, this property is over budget. But as John and Jane are cash buyers, they could see where a lower offer might get them. Immaculate throughout, it gives them a fantastic kitchen diner, a large, light living room, a study for Jane's Reiki, 3 bedrooms with a great master ensuite, and outside there's a garage for John's tools and enough land for the caravan and maybe even a workshop.
It's quite a long garage.
Is it wide enough?
It is wide enough. Whether it... I don't know whether it'll work out or not.
What, as a workshop?
As a workshop, yeah.
House number 2, definitely walking into the kitchen, that was a real wow factor. And the Reiki room is big enough to do what I need to do in it.
When we first approached it, I was a bit disappointed because it was sideways onto the road. But on further inspection, I found that the house raised a lot of good issues. It's in a good spot, and I think it's going to be a good contender.
All finished?
Yes.
Yes.
Inspected top to bottom?
Yes.
Very thoroughly.
And the garage?
Yes.
Yes, been in
Good.
there too.
So good day today?
A lot to think about.
Well, hopefully so, and then one more tomorrow, so let's go back.
Look forward to that.
As dusk falls over the stunning Lincolnshire landscape, our first day of house hunting ends on a high note. Self-employed carpenter John and Reiki therapist Jane are cash buyers who sold their house 3 months ago and are currently living with Jane's daughter in the city of Sunderland. They've already looked at around 40 properties in Lincolnshire without any luck. Our house hunt has so far delivered a pretty cottage that didn't quite measure up and a modern build that they reckon could be just the job. But coming up, there's a problem before we even step inside the mystery house.
I can't fit my caravan down here.
And I find out about restoring tapestries at a Lincolnshire stately home. Well, a gloriously hot day yesterday, but in the morning, only really lukewarm responses from John and Jane in that first house. But in the afternoon, well, they reacted fantastically to the second property. Great reactions both inside and outside the house. And on their way home, they were both rather thoughtful. Now, this morning, well, rather a dull start, but I'm hoping it will burn off to show the mystery property in all of its glory. As usual, it's here to challenge the expectations of our buyers, and I'm hoping it will do just that. What would you not like the mystery property to be?
Bungalow.
Yes. A bungalow on a modern estate would be our nightmare.
Would I do that to you? I mean, you know, I'm not like that, am I?
No, Johnny, I think you might.
We've made our way to the beautiful village of Fockingham, around 9 miles north of Bourne, which is surrounded by farmland and open countryside. As well as the usual amenities of a post office, a local shop for everyday items, and a pub for a bit of refreshment, there's also a chocolatier, and we couldn't resist having a word with owner Jan Hansen. Oh, look at this. The start to any house tour, really, should be with a bit of chocolate on board, shouldn't it? So should we get some?
Yeah, I think so.
Would you like to make your own selection?
No,
or general
your choice.
selection?
You're the expert.
Right.
So living in the village, I mean, what's the community like? Is there much to do here? Is there much going on? Is there much life in the village?
There's a sort of laid-back sort of feeling in the village. We've got a very busy village hall.
What sort of things in the village hall?
I suppose usual things, dances. I think once a week they have a meeting with the elderly folk, and that's very well attended. And
Well, that's something for you then, John.
I thought you'd say that.
belly dancing.
Belly dancing.
Oh,
Hello.
that's for me. I'll have a go at that.
It sounds great, doesn't it? There's plenty going on here.
Whenever there are sort of local dances or whatever do's in the village hall, that's always a good indicator. They're always sold out,
really?
so you know that's a good
that's
sign.
good.
Yeah, they're
You
always
do a
very
bit of dancing?
successful.
We have been known to.
Hello.
Yeah.
very nice local sort of tea room,
All right.
which people come from a long way away to visit.
So there's an active community.
Yeah, definitely. I'll seal them up so you're not tempted on the way home.
I was going to say, who's going to look after these?
Who
I will.
holds the box?
Lovely, thank you very much. And, well, hopefully these two will see you again, and when I'm next passing,
Thank
I'll
you
certainly
very
drop in.
Smash it.
Thanks, Jan.
2 new customers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed our next offering will be an equally tempting proposition. On the western edge of the village, we find our mystery house. We've gone out on a limb here by showing them a single-storey property, the type of build that John claims is his worst nightmare. We're hoping this one will prove the exception, though, as it's a converted barn which dates back to the 1700s. What's your thoughts? What's going through your mind?
I can't fit my caravan down here.
Yes, correct. You can't fit your caravan down here. I was hoping we might...
And is there a back entrance?
No.
Right.
So you might have to store your caravan off-site.
Oh, dear.
Oh, dear.
Ah.
Oh. OK. Not a great start. All right. What's Jane thinking?
I'm thinking it is partly stone built, which is nice, and it is an attractive-looking single-storey house.
Yes, it's an attractive-looking bungalow.
It's not a bungalow, all right?
Sorry, converted bungalow barn.
Converted.
Let's look
Single-storey.
inside. Come on.
That's OK.
Well, I might have an uphill struggle on my hands here, but I think they'll warm to the interior. Come right in.
I like
Yeah.
the fireplace.
Yeah, yeah.
That's really nice.
Oh,
and
yeah,
it's
very
quite a
nice.
long room, which is a surprise
Very,
for some reason.
very cosy, very homely.
I feel better now I'm inside than I did when I was outside. The house is at right angles. It's opened out a bit, and that feels better.
I actually like the feel of the place.
OK.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Thankfully, our mystery house is growing on them, and the kitchen is cosy and rustic, so I'm hoping they'll feel at home here too. So, what do you make of the kitchen?
Well, it's a good size, actually, and I like the design of the kitchen.
Yeah,
It's
I do.
definitely country style, and it fits in with the house.
Yeah, I think
It is.
it's not a bad sized kitchen.
Oh, that's
you,
nice.
you can get a small table in it, which is probably all you need for breakfast in. That's good. And I think there's a bright blue tiled surface, but it doesn't dominate. Sometimes when people use a bright colour, it dominates, but that doesn't. I think that's fine.
Two good reactions from both rooms.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at the bedrooms.
Okay. Yeah.
Just off the kitchen is a utility room. And heading back through the sitting room, we pass a formal dining area which leads into the sleeping wing of the house. There are 3 bedrooms here, the smallest of which could become Jane's Reiki room. The second guest room is a good-sized double and it adjoins the very stylish family bathroom. But we've saved the best bedroom until last. So, 3 bedrooms in total. This is definitely your master.
Yeah, it's a good size. It's nice and light. I like the access directly onto the garden. That's good. And I like the part stone wall.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's a bit TARDIS, isn't it?
this house.
TARDIS.
It's much
bit of a
bigger on the
surprise.
inside than you think it is from the outside.
I quite like it.
All right.
Definitely.
Now, one thing this room certainly has is a lovely aspect out to the garden, and we can reach the garden from these double doors.
Okay.
Let's do just that.
Yeah. Okay.
Outside, there's a beautifully manicured garden, but as it stands, no space for John to build his workshop or store the caravan. But there may be a way around that. The boundary is the far laurel hedge, OK? And that land beyond, well, it's hugely overgrown, but it does have road access.
Right. Okay.
It's about 2/3 of an acre, so
Yeah.
there might be a strategic move for you
Yeah.
with that
approach.
land.
Yeah.
So how much do you think, in its current guise, this house is on the market for?
It's hard, hard for me to put a figure on it, but I would say 245.
All right, Jane?
And I would say it's probably nearer our budget maximum, which is 270.
Well, the asking price of this property is offers around £255,000. All right. So, I imagine this house could be of interest.
If
You got hold of the land.
we got
We
hold
got
of the
hold
land.
of the land.
Is that right? Am I putting words in your mouth?
No, that is right. That being able to have the bigger garden and the access from another side would solve the issues that we have with the outside space.
Actually, it would put the icing on the cake because it is a lovely house.
I think now's a great opportunity then for you to go back into the house, have a look at the bedrooms you haven't yet seen, but really have a, just spend some more time here. So you've got, you've got all the nuts and bolts for you to make the decision later on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So have a look around the house,
Right.
and then I'll meet you at the front.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Priced at £255,000, our mystery house has definitely challenged John and Jane's opinion of single-storey living. It offers a huge and characterful living room, a country kitchen, 3 bedrooms, one of which could be used for Jane's Reiki, along with a beautiful garden. What's more, they could make inquiries about the adjoining parcel of land for their caravan and workshop.
On first impression, wasn't too taken with it, really. On further inspection, coming into the house, it's a very nice conversion. So Jen and I have got some decisions to make and quite a bit of discussion, I think.
The issue for us again would be the outside space and whether there would be the possibility of buying the additional land to be able to make it into the type of property we would need with the outbuilding that John required.
Well, hopefully that's something else to have a think about.
Yeah.
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 Let's find some way to mull things over, shall we?
Yeah. Okay.
Set in Lincolnshire's rich agricultural landscape are a number of iconic stately homes that are key landmarks of this county's heritage. Burley House is a fabulous Tudor mansion with parkland laid out by famous landscape architect Capability Brown. Near Lincoln, Doddington Hall is a stunning Elizabethan manor. It was built by architect Robert Smithson in 1595 for Thomas Taylor, who was registrar to the Bishop of Lincoln. Since 2005, it has been home to Claire Birch, who inherited it from her parents and now runs it as a business with the help of over 80 people from the local community. She's revived the hall's walled kitchen garden and also has another large conservation project on the go. I visited her to learn more about her work on some historic tapestries.
So you have to use your imagination, but this room in Georgian times had tapestries nailed to the walls. Every surface was completely covered with the tapestries, and they'd got really, really dirty. The dirt from the coal fires and sunlight and everything, it really got into the fabrics and they were falling apart. So a year ago, we had them taken off the walls, sent off to Belgium to be washed, and they've all been washed now. We've got, this is a sample of a washed panel of the tapestry. But the big job now is to, because they're all very fragile, they need to be put onto backing and they need to be mended all the way through this conservation work that's going to take about 2 years and cost probably £300,000, this room and another room full of tapestries.
Wow.
They actually date from the 1620s, and when they were nailed to the walls in the 1760s, they were already antiques. And in fact, that's one of the fascinating things about it. The guy, John Delaval, who lived here then, it's an early example of antiquarianism. He was trying to get an old-fashioned look for the house.
This major project involved removing over 1,600 nails. 8 students from Lincoln University worked with a textile conservation expert to take down the 9 tapestry panels in preparation for them to be cleaned. Well, the transformation between that there and hopefully what it could become is huge. I mean, you can see why every room has a fireplace in it, buffing out the smoke. The project has been assisted by the Heritage Lottery Fund, and the next stage is to set up a Conservation in Action workshop complete with looms. This will be open to visitors and will provide opportunities for students of conservation to get practical experience in preserving tapestries. Well, a beautiful old hall and garden steeped in family history, and sounds to me like it's got a bright future ahead of it thanks to its current owners. Time now to catch up with today's buyers and find out if I've found anything suitable for them here in Lincolnshire. So nice to see the clouds finally burnt off. Have you found looking for houses now, after all your vast experience at looking at properties, have you found this session of looking at properties in Lincolnshire?
It's been an interesting journey to have a look at 3 properties that have been chosen for you by somebody else.
Yes.
That means that the parameters that you set yourself are slightly moved and different things come up.
So let's start at the beginning. The first property I took you to, the semi-detached farm cottage. What were your thoughts then when you first saw it?
I was worried straight away about the access and the surrounding farm.
Yeah.
When we went inside, though, the downstairs space, the kitchen diner was a really good size. The lounge was nice and warm and cosy and inviting. When we went upstairs, the upstairs space was a little bit small. The 2 single bedrooms wouldn't have been enough for me to do any Reiki in the room there. And I think that we had some issues with the land space outside.
Yes, it was pretty narrow garden, and I want my caravan with me in the garden rather than having it in storage.
Well, I learned quite a bit from that first house, which is why in the afternoon I was so chuffed with your responses from that modern place that I showed you.
Very positive feelings about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's very similar in style to the house that we sold, and therefore it immediately felt more welcoming and comfortable because it was a style that we were familiar with and used to. And the up-to-date facilities and the newness of the build appealed as well.
It's been done nice. I mean, you're all about the finish, and I thought, you know, building-wise, it'd been done really well, hadn't it?
Very well. I immediately liked the house. It was absolutely brilliant.
Now today, well, the weather's almost been a metaphor for the mystery house itself. It started off a bit dull, but it's come good. But your reactions outside the mystery house were a little bit muted, to say the least.
Subdued.
Yeah. But then it came good inside, didn't it?
Yes.
It did. I think initially we could only see one side of the house from the front door, and at first I thought it looked rather small. When we went inside and we realised the house was actually a U-shape, and we'd just seen a third of it from the outside, that's when it started to feel a possibility.
That garden was lovely laid out, very nice, but not enough of it.
At the moment, it seems to be between 2 houses, the second house and the mystery house.
I think out of the 2, it'd be the second house that I would have to have a look at again.
What's your next step then?
Probably to have a further discussion on houses 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Try and really work out what compromises would need to be made with either house, and then decide whether we want to take either of them further.
Well, let me know how you get on. Do keep in touch.
Yes.
But whatever you decide, I wish you the best of luck.
Oh, thank you.
Well, thanks very much for your help.
Yes, thanks
My
to
pleasure. It's
everybody
been fun, isn't it?
for all the work you've put in.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, I've got to say, going back to yesterday morning, when I first heard from John and Jane they'd already seen 40 houses, I was a bit concerned on whether or not I'd be able to find the right sort of place. But then I saw the reactions from the second property, that wonderful new build house right in the heart of the village. They really opened up and fell for the place. So I'm a bit surprised on what seems to have happened between then and now. Have they talked themselves out of it? I really do hope then that they go back to that property, they heed my advice and give it a second chance. And then, well, if it's not for them, it's not for them. But of course, that number then creeps up to 43 viewings. But one thing's for sure, if the right property's out there for them, they're determined enough to find it. See you next time. If you'd like to escape to the country in Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland or England and need our help, please apply online at bbc.co.uk/Be On A Show.